We're going to look at 5 secrets to keep the spark alive in our sexual relationship. And the first secret is the importance of speaking to each other. Now, we want to say at the outset, we recognise that talking about our sex life, even with our partner, can be difficult because it's a deeply private area of our lives, and it requires us to be vulnerable with each other.
And we want to reassure any of you who are feeling nervous about this session that if you make a start, even a small one, it can be the beginning of a process of talking that will gradually get easier.
Unlike in most movies, sex in real life isn't always fantastic. For all of us, our sex life will go through good times and difficult times. The issues that stop the spark often have nothing to do with sex whatsoever.
Couples may struggle as a result of the different pressures that they face at different times in their lives. Anxiety and stress will always work against a good sexual relationship. It could be from a very stressful job, or it could be an illness or a bereavement. Pressure comes when a couple are struggling with infertility. And there are other pressures for couples with young children.
Nikki and I can certainly identify with the pressures that having young children can bring. I remember so well, in between our 3rd and 4th child being born, Nikki and I went away for 3 days on our own. I was so looking forward to this time away, and I was really hoping that it was going to rekindle a spark that had largely gone out of our sex life for me at that stage, mostly because of physical tiredness from looking after 3 young children. And I was hoping the spark would reignite. However, after the 2nd day, I remember feeling in total despair and wondering whether my body would ever be capable of responding in a sexually passionate way again. And I spent half of one night in tears, completely distraught about it. And it was only through talking and talking with Nikki that I felt he understood. And that made such a difference in getting through this difficult time together. And during this whole season with young children, we had to work hard to understand each other and to stay connected at an emotional level. And it felt like a long time, and I think it wasn't actually until our youngest child was about 18 months old that my body went back to responding anything like normally again.
If we failed to make time and space to talk about our feelings, it so easily leads to misunderstanding and feelings of isolation. You may find it hard to talk to each other because you're embarrassed, or your pride gets in the way as you feel you should just know instinctively what your partner enjoys. It's only through speaking about our sex life that we understand each other better, and that will increase our intimacy.
And both men and women need to keep asking each other questions, such as, where, how do you most enjoy making love? What can I do for you? What turns you on? What turns you off? And are there things that I can do that will help to create a sense of emotional closeness and connection between us?
When things aren't going so well in our sexual relationship, we can easily feel isolated and start to think, I must be the only one that is facing this kind of situation. We want to emphasize that the vast majority of problems couples face are common and solvable, and they don't mean the end of our sexual relationship, especially if we approach them together as a team.
What I find interesting is that so many of the couples I work with say, we had a problem and suddenly weeks turned into months and months turned into years, and we thought that it would just sort itself out, but it didn't, because we couldn't find a way to discuss the subject because it felt unnatural for us, or we weren't comfortable talking about sex. It's really important, if you've been struggling with a sexual problem, something like erectile dysfunction or dyspareunia, so sexual pain, or vaginismus, that you go and see your family doctor. And it's important that you do this together, that you both take ownership for the fact that you want to seek help together, you want to create a good sex life together as a couple, and you go and support the other person in doing this. For many of the couples I work with, coming to see me is the first time they've actually talked about it, and having a third person there who's used to dealing with sexual problems all the time makes it more comfortable for them. And a lot of the work that I do is getting couples not to talk to me, but actually to face each other and to talk about what's going on for them. And this is often the first time that they've sat down with their partner and really talked about why they're struggling and some of the reasons that they may be struggling. There's lots of help out there and lots of support that can make a real difference for couples. So it's important that we pull together as a team, that we're kind to one another, and that we seek help so that we can move through to a season where sex is really good.